My name is Alara. I am 27 years old, and on Thanksgiving night, my father called me a leech across the dinner table. He didn't whisper it. He said it with cranberry sauce on his fork, stuffing in his teeth, as though humiliation was just another side dish. Around that table sat the whole cast of my family drama. Dad, Harold, a retired contractor who wears his exhaustion like a badge and his anger like a uniform. Hypocrisy? He lived off my mom's savings after retirement, but I was the leech. Mom, Janice, a nurse who preaches compassion in her job, but at home defends cruelty with silence. My brother, Derek, a 30-year-old realtor, always boasting about closing deals yet constantly borrowing money to float until commissions hit. My aunt, Marlene, the quiet one, a librarian who never had much but always offered me books, tea, and encouragement. My only contrast, my only true ally. The betrayal cut sharp because I had been the one paying. Rent split, me, Wi-Fi, me, grocery bills when Dad's pension didn't stretch. Me. They called it helping out. That night it became leeching. I packed after dessert. No tears, just the sound of zippers and folded sweaters. I wrote my name off every shared account, canceled auto-pays, and rerouted my savings into a fresh bank. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Hit like and subscribe. Because betrayal always begins with one word you never forget. When Dad woke the next morning and found the lights off, Wi-Fi dead, and fridge half empty, he stormed across town to my apartment. He pounded the door with fists built on decades of demolition work. "Open up, you ungrateful parasite." But this time, the walls weren't his. Suspense. I pressed record on my phone just as his voice cracked through the wood, because I knew this wasn't rage. It was fear. He didn't knock like a father. He knocked like a notice. 3 hard blows. Pause. 3 more. My door, my name, my lungs, all rattled. "Open up, Alara," his voice scraped. "You think you can embarrass me? You cut the heat? You cut the internet? You cut the card I use for gas?" I had canceled my card, the one I'd let him use temporarily. Funny how temporary grows roots when no one checks the soil. I set my phone to record and slid, the chain halfway. "It's 8 a.m., Dad. You left us in the dark." He pushed the words through his teeth. "Your mother cried. Mom has a pension. Derek has commissions. And you have a working fuse box," I said, steady. "Last night you said I was a leech, so I stopped leeching." He laughed, a sound with no humor. "You think bills make you the hero? You think canceling the Wi-Fi punishes me? You live because I let you." I kept the chain on. "I pay my own rent. This door is mine." Behind him, the hallway air smelled like cold metal and hallway cleaner. Footsteps. A neighbor peered around the stairwell and retreated. I breathed through my nose the way Aunt Marlene taught me. In for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 6. She used to say, "A steady exhale tells the fire it can't have you." Dad shifted tactics. "Be reasonable. We've got December coming. Derek's got a slow quarter. Your mother's hours got cut at the hospital. It's family. Put the bills back how they were." There it was, the truth under the insult. They were never asking me to stay. They were asking my money not to leave. If you're watching this, drop a comment, hit like and subscribe, because the moment they need you more than they love you, you'll hear it in the ask. His eyes flicked to the phone in my hand. "You recording me?" "Yes," I said. "For my memory, it's short when people rewrite it." He snorted, then leaned closer, voice low. "You don't want a war with me." "I don't want a war at all," I said. "I want a boundary." He slammed his palm into the door so hard the peephole blurred. "Last chance. You owe this family." "I've already paid," I whispered, and slid the chain off, not to open, but to lock it fully from the inside. His footsteps retreated, slow, like a promise. And 10 minutes later, my phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number that made my stomach drop. "Check your bank, now." The notification blinked, like an alarm. "Unknown number. 5 words. Check your bank, now." I froze. Then I opened the app. My stomach lurched. The savings account I had built for 6 years. Overtime hours, canceled vacations, second jobs, all but drained. A withdrawal, marked joint household expense transfer. But I had closed that joint account last night. "Impossible," I whispered. My fingers shook as I refreshed. Same red number staring back. I called the bank. A representative's voice came on, cheerful, detached. "Yes, Ms. Taylor. The transfer request came from a familiar IP address. Verified by Family Authority." Family Authority. 2 words like acid. "Which family?" I demanded. "Your father," she replied. "Listed as co-signer." My breath caught. I remembered the day 3 years ago when Dad said, "Just list me for emergencies. Safer that way." I had signed, desperate for peace at the dinner table. That emergency had arrived, not for me, but for him. I hung up and called Aunt Marlene. Her quiet voice steadied me. "Ilara, listen." Paper trails bury louder voices. Print everything, emails, statements, last night's recording. He wants you to panic. Don't. You're not a leech, you're leverage. He just lost it. Tears burned my eyes, not from weakness, but clarity. Dad never wanted me gone. He wanted my tether close enough to pull. If you're watching this, drop a comment, hit like and subscribe. Because the cruelest trick isn't rejection. It's dependence disguised as disgust. I emailed the bank. Immediately, formal dispute, attached PDFs, requested a freeze. Then I forwarded the same to Annika, my friend's cousin, an attorney who had once defended tenants against landlords like Dad. Her reply came fast. "Meet me Monday. Bring receipts. And bring courage." That night, my phone lit up with a new message from Derek. "We didn't know Dad would do that. But you've always had extra. Can't you just let it go?" I stared at the words until the screen dimmed. My brother, who drove a leased Mercedes and lived off advances, calling my 6 years of savings extra. And then the buzzer rang at my apartment. I checked the camera. Dad was back. But this time he wasn't alone. The grainy camera feed showed my father standing stiff, arms crossed. Beside him, Derek slouched like he'd been dragged there, phone in hand, guilt dripping, but not enough to stop him from showing up. And behind them, Mom. Clutching her purse, eyes darting, wearing her hospital scrubs like armor. 3 silhouettes in the hallway, framed by my door. My whole family, minus the only one who ever protected me. The buzzer blared again. "Open up." "Ilara," Dad barked. "We're not leaving until you fix this." Derek's voice slid through, whiny. "Come on, sis, this is childish. Just share." Mom's voice was softer, but sharper for it. "Do you really want your neighbors thinking you're the kind of daughter who locks out her family?" I pressed record on my phone again. "Say it louder," I muttered, not to them but to myself. Evidence loves clarity. Cracked the door, chain locked tight. "What exactly do you want fixed?" Dad leaned in. "The accounts, the bills, the balance. You cut us off and embarrassed us in front of everyone. You will reinstate it." "I closed what was mine," I said calmly. "I canceled what was in my name." Mom's eyes flashed. "You owe us. After everything we've done for you." I laughed once, short, sharp, bitter. "Done for me? I bought Derek's last car. I covered your mortgage when Dad's pension dipped. I paid the utilities every winter while you toasted by the fire. That wasn't charity. It was silence money. If you're watching this, drop a comment, hit like and subscribe, because silence always comes with a bill. Derek sneered. So what now? You're gonna sue us? Maybe, I said, locking eyes with him through the gap. Or maybe I'll just keep gathering. Dad slammed the door with his palm, chain rattling but holding. Ungrateful. You'll regret this. Families don't survive traitors. I steadied my breath. Families don't survive thieves. They left, footsteps storming down the hall. But when I checked my phone later, there was a new voicemail waiting. It wasn't Dad. It was Aunt Marlene. Her voice trembled. Alara, they've been in my house. Looking for papers. Call me. Aunt. Marlene's voice quivered through the voicemail. They've been in my house. Looking for papers. Call me. I called instantly. She answered on the first ring. They turned everything upside down, she whispered. Drawers, shelves, even the shoebox where I keep the old receipts. They think I have your records. My chest tightened. Why would they assume that? Because, she sighed. I told your mom once that I keep copies of important things, birth certificates, tax records. They must have thought I was keeping yours too. She paused, breath shaky. Alara, you need to understand. Your father isn't panicking because of bills. He's panicking because paper proves the truth. And truth makes him small. I opened my laptop, hands steady now. Every email, every screenshot, every bill I'd paid in my name, I dragged them into a folder labeled Not a Leech. Then I uploaded it to 3 clouds and 2 drives. I printed hard copies. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Hit like and subscribe, because betrayal always leaves fingerprints, and sometimes utility bills. That evening, I went to Aunt Marlene's. She greeted me with tea, as always, her hands shaking only when they weren't holding the cup. They think destroying evidence erases the past, she said. But the past doesn't live in shoeboxes. It lives in the people they underestimated. She handed me an envelope. Inside, bank slips. Years old, some from when I was 21, showing transfers from my account in T. Annika's email was clean, sharp, professional. Alara, I've reviewed the materials you sent. Utility bills, bank slips, transfers, all in your name. Their claim that you're a leech collapses under paper. What you've built is not just a defense. It's leverage. Leverage. The word landed like a torch in a dark room. She invited me to meet the next morning at her office. Bring Marlene if you can. We'll need a witness who isn't tangled in their accounts. The rest is strategy. I hardly slept. Rain hit the windows, memories hit harder. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every Sunday dinner where I bought the groceries but they called it help. Every eye roll from Derek when I said no. Every silent nod from Mom when Dad twisted words until they cut. I thought I was surviving. I was documenting. At dawn, I printed everything again, stacked it into a folder that felt like armor. Marlene met me outside the office, her librarian calm returning as she carried her own binder of notes. They underestimate people who file. Quietly, she said. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Hit like and subscribe, because betrayal thrives in shadows, but evidence loves daylight. Inside, Annika spread the papers like puzzle pieces. We'll file a formal notice, she said. Your father drained your savings. That's theft under cosigner abuse. With these records, we can demand repayment and possibly damages. I blinked. Damages? She smiled. Yes. For the years you covered bills while they called you useless. Courts don't like hypocrisy when it's this well documented. Marlene squeezed my hand. You see, you were never the leech. You were the backbone. For the first time in weeks, my chest loosened. Then my phone buzzed again. A voicemail. I played it on speaker. Dad's voice, low and venomous. You think a lawyer saves you? You're still my daughter. Court or not, you'll always owe me. Blood doesn't need receipts. Annika leaned back, expression sharp. Actually, that's exactly what blood needs. Suspense. She tapped her pen against the folder. Let's file Monday morning, because once they get the summons, the screaming at your door will turn into silence in a courtroom. Monday morning, the courthouse smelled of coffee and old wood. Annika walked like she owned the floor, Marlene steady at her side. I carried the folder, proof heavier than any insult. We filed the petition: misuse of cosigner authority, restitution of funds, and repayment of shared bills. The clerk stamped it, and just like that, my father's threats became evidence in a case number. By afternoon, the summons had been delivered. Derek texted me first. Seriously? You're dragging us to court? You'll ruin the family name. I typed back, I didn't ruin it. I just stopped covering it. Mom called next, her voice syrup over nails. Do you know what you've done? Your father is humiliated. Everyone at church already knows who pays the bills, I said, and hung up. If you're watching this, drop a comment, hit like and subscribe, because once the lies hit sunlight, people don't defend you. They scatter. That evening, Dad showed up again at my door. But this time, he didn't scream. He shoved the summons in my mail slot, scrawled, with red ink, traitor. I picked it up with gloves. Proof is proof, no matter the handwriting. Marlene sat with me that night, spreading tea and calm. You know what this means, right? She asked. That I've made it real, I whispered. That you've made it equal, she corrected. They shouted. Now you've spoken in a language they can't twist. I leaned against the couch, exhausted but lighter. For the first time, I wasn't running. I was standing. My phone buzzed once more. A message from Annika. Pre-hearing set for Friday. They'll try intimidation, don't flinch. I looked at the folder on my table. Years of silence transformed into paper. And then came another email. This one from an unknown sender. Subject line: You don't know the whole truth about Derek. Attached was a single PDF file. Suspense. The preview showed a lease agreement, with my name forged as guarantor. I opened the PDF with hands colder than the November wind outside my window. A lease agreement. Derek's signature scribbled bold, and beneath it, my name, forged as guarantor. For years I'd carried his mistakes, but this was different. This wasn't borrowing Wi-Fi passwords or cashing temporary checks. This was fraud with my name chained to it. I forwarded the file to Annika instantly. Her reply came in minutes. This is critical. We add forgery to the case. Strong leverage. I sat back, the weight of silence pressing. My brother hadn't just joined my father in their lies. He'd tried to anchor me to his sinking. The next morning at pre-hearing, the judge scanned the folders. My father sat red-faced, Derek pale, my mother stone. Marlene squeezed my hand. Annika laid the forged lease neatly on top. Your Honor, she said, this is not just misuse of cosigner authority. This is forgery committed by the defendant's son. My client has carried this family financially for years, while they called her a leech. The evidence shows the opposite. She has been the lifeline. The judge adjusted his glasses. Mr. Taylor, Mr. Derek Taylor, do you deny these documents? Their silence was answer enough. The ruling was swift. Restitution ordered. Forgery under investigation. My accounts unfrozen. Funds to be repaid. My father's face sagged, like plaster crumbling. Derek avoided my eyes. Mom muttered about family shame. Shame? The only shame was years of silence I should have broken sooner. If you're watching this, drop a comment. Hit like and subscribe. because sometimes the loudest revenge is proof stacked higher than their pride. That night, I returned to my apartment. Marlene left a basket of muffins by my door, a quiet thank you for choosing truth over comfort. I placed the stamped judgment on my fridge, a new kind of family portrait. Me, unbroken. My father had called me a leech. My brother tried to chain me to his debts. My mother chose silence. But I chose evidence. And evidence won, revenge. Punch. Their lies collapsed. My truth stood moral reflection. Proof speaks louder than blood.